The Aliens franchise has charted a fairly rough path across various mediums throughout its 44-year history, whether in video game form with the likes of the terrible Aliens Colonial Marines, or on the silver screen when Michael Fassbender whips out a flute to put the final nail in the coffin that was Aliens Covenant. Things haven't always gone smoothly on this particular bug hunt, and of course, when Aliens is good, it's just about as great as sweaty survival horror can get, and it's easy to see why that no matter how many times things go badly, game developers continue to return for another bite at this particularly gooey egg sack. Ahoy folks, Craig signing in for Pure Xbox to get stuck into Aliens Dark Descent. Now, this review was written by PJ O'Reilly, who happened to be my first brutally murdered Colonial Marine, and turned into video by me, the second horrifically butchered Marine. So now the Xenos have had a taste of Colonial Marine flesh, let's get right into it.
Shut that door! Shut that door!
Tindalos Interactive, the French developer behind the Battlefleet Gothic Armada series, has given Alien fans reason to rejoice by serving up a very good game with this one. It's not without its issues which could mostly be resolved by a few tweaks and patches, but on the whole, what you've got here is a tension-filled strategy effort that takes the established XCOM formula and makes some smart tweaks to better suit the style of action at hand. Aliens Dark Descent delivers creeping dread, claustrophobic corridors, the nerve-wracking beep of the motion tracker as the enemy approaches, and, at the end of it all, hordes of incredibly dangerous xenomorphs who will tear your squad to shreds given half a chance. The XCOM influence is obvious from the get-go, with your base of operations acting in exactly the same manner here. You can switch between a handful of menus and submenus to travel between a barracks, medbay, laboratory, command center, and so on. And these locations expand and offer up more options as you progress. Your Colonial Marines can be customized to a basic degree in terms of how they look, and then named however you choose, perfect for dragging yourself and some real-life friends into the depths of hell. And there's a steady and meaningful drip feed of upgrades, new weapons, promotions, and specialized classes to unlock as you progress through the game's 12 missions.
Did I teach you, Marine? Salute.
As days pass in HQ, as you take the time to heal and rearm, unlock bigger guns, and research new tech via alien DNA samples, the infestation level on the planet of Leith also slowly grows. Just as in XCOM, time is an important factor. You're always under pressure, and the situation is absolutely going to get worse before it gets any better. It suits the Aliens universe perfectly.
What the hell?
If you've played an XCOM game, then you'll know the overall drill with this side of things. The ebb and flow is generally the same. Missions give you experience and materials with which to promote and upgrade Marines, meaning you'll have to keep them alive for as long as you can in order to turn them into genuinely useful propositions on the battlefield. Of course, there's a permadeath mechanic at work too, so things get properly sway as you struggle to keep your very best soldiers alive and kicking. And we're not ashamed to admit plenty of good old-fashioned save scumming took place during our blast through the game's rather large core campaign.
Grenade!
In the early hours of Aliens Dark Descent, before you've got your hands on a robust armory of weapons and gadgets, things can feel a little light in terms of tactics, as the core action eschews the individual unit movements of its most obvious inspirations for a system that sees your entire squad move as one. This initially seems to put a bit of a dampener on the options you've got for approaching battles, but it actually turns out to be a smart move that suits the style of the confrontations at hand. Having your squad move in unison keeps all of your firepower in one place, something that's an absolute must when the Xenos come out to play, as one Marine on their own will be quickly overwhelmed and dragged away to become a meaty alien incubator. It also allows Tindalos to deliver enemies that live up to those found in the movies. Yes, you can destroy hordes of xenomorph drones here, it's a video game after all, but they're never pushovers, attacking en masse, flanking and overpowering you in seconds if you haven't prepared adequately.
Watch out! Ah, it burns! It burns!
Keeping your squad as a singular unit also feeds into the overall implementation of the game's stealth mechanics. Slowly and quietly investigating environments is the order of the day here, as the alien hive works on a sliding scale of awareness. Keep your squad tight, together, and hidden from the line of sight, and you can maneuver around with fairly minimal contact. Make a bunch of noise and the hive becomes aware, increasing both in the threat level and difficulty of a mission as Xenos hone in on your location to repeatedly terrorize your team.
Watch out!
Mine is bigger.
As a result, it's stealthy consideration and preparation that becomes most crucial in Aliens Dark Descent. The actual battlefield smarts and ability to read a situation so that when the excrement inevitability hits the whirligig, your Marines stand a fighting chance. Each of your 4-strong squad has their own weaponry and skills dependent on how you've equipped and upgraded them at HQ, and entering the skills menu during battle either slows down time or completely pauses it depending on what you've selected in the game's menus. Once you're in this pause mode, you can select individual Marine actions, laying down suppressing fire, scorching entire areas via flamethrowers so enemies need to find another path, sniping foes from long range, using a shotgun to blast those who have already closed in, and firing off hugely damaging grenade launcher rounds. You've also got invaluable auto turrets that can be positioned to cover large areas, giving you breathing space as they mow down incoming hordes.
Like that, huh?
All of these special skills require a clever and continual juggling of action points and tool points. Action points slowly regenerate over time, and you'll be able to give yourself more of them through upgrading, promoting, and choosing the right team setup. Tool points, which are used to weld doors, fix machinery, or hack security, and med packs, ammo, and so on can be picked up by thoroughly scouring areas during battle, or by spending resources at base to pack as much as possible before descending onto the planet of Leith. It's a clever setup, one that keeps you on your toes, and the vast majority of what you're doing here is micromanaging a tiny amount of resources in order to keep yourself alive and sane enough to fight.
These Marines are under a great deal of stress. If we don't help them process it, things will turn nasty real fast.
Indeed, the mental health of your Marines plays a pivotal role in Aliens Dark Descent, one that adds much to the claustrophobia and terror of the game's combat. Sorties into alien territory really do take their toll in multiple ways, and your squad will suffer a variety of mental traumas as a result. When a soldier develops a phobia of fire, or is driven half mad with PTSD, they aren't as effective in battle, and so you'll need to consider how you spend your medic packs during missions. You can use them to heal up as normal, and there are various states of coma, unconsciousness, and injury to sort, but you'll also need to repeatedly burn through your available medical assets in order to have your Marines take tablets to keep their stress levels at bay. A stressed soldier develops mental health issues that will require prolonged stays in your HQ's psych ward to overcome, removing them from rotation and denying you their expertise for periods of time.
Understood. I'll update my schedule.
In short, there is a lot to think about, and it makes for a game that very cleverly leans into the organization and build up before a firefight more than it does the actual combat itself. You can use cover and hunker down to take on the different human opponents you'll come across during the story, or to hide from a sleeping Xeno. But for the most part, it's about slowly moving through wonderfully crafted atmospheric corridors, nervously pushing through the fog of war, and ensuring you're ready for when an inevitable onslaught begins.
Face it, we're due!
Once the aliens actually arrive, the action can feel almost as though it plays out automatically if you've got yourself properly set up. And it's always a relief to see enemies obliterated by a wall of turret guns whilst you hang back and occasionally fire off some grenades or lay down some suppressing fire. This is how it goes when you've been clever and careful. Otherwise, it's all about retreating in a panic, firing off your burst rifles and smart guns as you make for the nearest room to weld shut doors and give yourself a second to think.
You shut up, pass, fuckers.
The welding of doors is yet another excellent mechanic here. One that gives you a means to slow down an enemy assault, control the flow of how foes approach, and give you makeshift rest spots to recover and get your Marines' stress levels down by taking a break. It also leads to intense scenarios that feel like they're ripped straight out of the movies as you charge down corridors in a panic, perhaps slowed by the fact you're carrying an injured teammate. welding shut doors and setting up turret guns to slow down a horde that's on your tail as you go.
Let's rock!
Tango down!
All of this stuff is enhanced immensely by some excellent audio and visual work, with intricate environments packed full of details from the movies. We also love just how huge the missions are here. Enormous multi-leveled areas with main and side objectives to work through, and the inclusion of an armored ARC that can be used to quickly travel from place to place, mow down foes, rescue survivors, and return to base to refresh is another smart touch. Indeed, returning to base is essential, and the game has a nice sense of risk and reward to it as a result. Do you head back to HQ when you complete an objective in order to heal up and restock? Or do you push your luck with a less than full squad to grab more resources for upgrading? If you can make your way back to the Ark in one piece, the choice is yours, and levels are persistent in this regard, meaning that when you return to a mission, you'll find the area as you left it, right down to your now empty and broken turret guns in need of repair.
Hurry up, you slugs!
Scouring these huge levels is essential for collecting the vital resources you'll need to upgrade and survive from moment to moment too. And the game further rewards investigation of your surroundings by giving you survivors to find, scientists, engineers, and even friendly synthetics, who can then be shuttled to your ARC and returned to HQ in order to join your war effort.
Relax, guys. We're USCM. You're all safe, but I need to know what happened here.
We should also mention the variety in terms of Xeno enemies employed across the campaign. Tindalos has done a great job of sticking closely to the classic Alien template with drones, facehuggers, huge alien queens, and those absolutely terrifying Worker Joe synthetics, whilst also managing to add more to the mix besides. This variety of aliens, mixed with a bunch of human enemies and a constant need for stealthy movement as you maneuver through environments, results in a game that serves up a constant supply of tense missions that are a joy to spend time getting to grips with.
Get your stomachs ready, sweetheart. Next stop, USS Otago.
With regards to the story itself, we don't want to spoil anything here, but we have enjoyed what it brings to the table. It's impressively gritty stuff with no outright good guys. Plenty of bickering and corporate politics keeping main characters at each other's throats, and enough new twists and novel reworkings of established lore to keep the whole thing interesting over its generous 40+ hour running time.
If we let even one of them get on board the Otago, this is over.
Agreed.
As previously mentioned, it's not all smooth sailing with Aliens Dark Descent. Controls can be sticky and a little fidgety in places, especially with regards to placing your team quickly into concealed cover and in the operation of elevators. Menus can also be a bit frustrating from time to time, especially back at base where there's so many aspects to browse through. Some folk may also find the graphics less than stellar in places. As atmospheric as it is, it's definitely not cutting edge, and there is a little texture pop in here and there.
Don't move. I'm gonna fix you up best I can.
In terms of the gameplay itself, as great as it can be, there's no doubt that there's not as much depth here as you'll find in some other RTS games. We totally get what Tindalos has gone for with its choices. It suits the style of combat and allows the developer to pack its game with deadly enemies that live up to the Alien name. But it does remove some of the expected player agency with regards to direct control, opportunities to flank, split up, and things of this nature. Being able to split ranks just wouldn't work here, and so you lose a little bit of the individuality and depth with regards to each of the classes on offer. On Xbox Series X, you've got two graphical modes to work with, the usual performance and quality. We spent a bit of time with both, and honestly, there's not too much of a difference here. Give or take some sharpness in the image, we'll need to see how the likes of Digital Foundry break down the nitty-gritty here, as we've found exact changes hard to see. And so, for now, sticking to performance should at least ensure the most responsive and smooth experience. If you can get down with the style of what's on offer here though, you're in for a cracking time, especially if you're a fan of all things Alien. This is a lovingly crafted adventure, and a slick and suitably tense experience that's been put together by a development team that very obviously knows how to make a solid RTS. It's a little rough around the edges at times, sure, and perhaps this is acknowledged in the game's lower price point, but overall, Aliens Dark Descent is a success, an experience that will only improve as those slight rough edges are smoothed out, and one of the very best Alien games we've played outside of Alien Isolation and Aliens Infestation. It's time to stop your grinning and drop your linen.
You okay, miss?
Finally! I've been chosen! Damn! That hurts!
Back off. We've seen this before.
As always, thank you very much for getting to this part in the video. We hope you liked our review of Aliens Dark Descent. Be sure to let us know in the comments whether or not you'll be picking this up on Xbox. And I'm actually curious to know, what was the last good Alien film? Please let me know in the comments. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and head on over to purexbox.com for all the latest Xbox news, reviews, and previews. All that's left to do now is say goodbye. Cheerio!
Light him up! Bring him down!